Jazz saxophonist Kirk Whalum started out as a band leader, performing in different clubs before he joined the big league and went on to win 12 Grammy Awards. The originator of Gospel According to Jazz backed up for top artists in America, including late singer Whitney Houston, who gave him a slot in the song I Will Always Love You. Kirk recently visited Nigeria to celebrate the International Jazz Day, and Entertainment News seized the opportunity to speak with him about his roots and music. Do enjoy.
12-time Grammy Award winner Kirk Whalum has made his name as one of America's best jazz saxophonists. Born in Memphis, Tennessee, his interest in music and entertainment took root in Texas Southern University, where he was a member of the Ocean of Soul Marching Band, and when he sang in the church choir. His music-loving family also played a major role in helping him appreciate music, particularly R&B, gospel, rock, and jazz.
I wanted to play this instrument because it looked so cool. You know, I mean, back in that day, it was no technology, no iPad, you know. The saxophone was highly advanced technology. You know, this instrument had so many different gizmos and all of that, and I just thought it was such a cool looking instrument. It was way better looking than any other instrument, and so that was why I chose it. But as well, you know, as a 12-year-old, subliminally, you know, I knew that my uncle played the saxophone, but I hadn't really paid much attention to that because he didn't live in my town. And eventually I did record with him. But as well, I'm convinced that it's destiny, that you know, it was meant to be, that there was something that was working beyond my control. And you know, I think at the end of the day, I'm a singer, but I'm singing through the instrument. For me, it was all about, and still is about, being so in tune with this instrument that I'm able to sing through it and not, not really think of the mechanical aspect of it. It is a very mechanical instrument because there's a lot of muscle memory that goes into playing it, and so there's a lot of preparation similar to a gymnast. You know, you have to be in touch with your body. And this is the same type thing, but again, I'm convinced that I was meant to play that instrument.
In the 80s, he formed a band, having regular gigs in local clubs. It was at this time he was discovered by jazz pianist Bob James. That move proved to be his biggest decision, as he went on to play for top artists, including late soul singer Whitney Houston.
I'm glad you mentioned Whitney in the context of Bob James, because when I first got into besides being into music and wanting to be a good musician and wanting to be on stage and wanting to play with other musicians and to tour around, now you're in the music industry. And so my entree into the music industry was through Bob James, because he was the one that discovered me in terms of the international music scene. And now I'm on that particular stage, as it were. And, you know, he's producing projects for me. You know, he produced my first 3 records. I'm recording with him, touring, and now I'm playing with other artists like Larry Carlton and others. And so now I have my own records out there. And then, you know, I moved to Los Angeles, actually, because I had done a session for Larry Carlton out there, and I just thought I should live here. And then met this guy named Ricky Minor. I had been asking around about bass players, and so they said, well, you should hear Ricky Minor. So I got to know him and invited him to play on a gig at a jazz club. And the next day, he invited me to tour with his boss, Whitney Houston. And so I just didn't expect it. It was very unexpected. And I didn't immediately warm to the idea, because something in me said, man, that's so far out of my lane. And not only that, forget the fact that, this is a much bigger pie, with Whitney as opposed to, the jazz lane that I was in. For me, I was stepping back because I was no longer writing and arranging and performing with my band and doing my music. Now I was going to be standing behind her in a supporting role and working for her. And so all those things were, it was very much negative, category for me to think that, this is what I'm going to be doing. So I didn't say yes right away.
He toured with Whitney Houston for more than 7 years and soloed in her single, I Will Always Love You, the best-selling single by a female artist in music history. His solo efforts produced several Grammys, the first in 2011. It's What I Do, featuring Lala Hathaway, alongside lifelong friend and gifted writer Jerry Peters, won for Best Gospel Song. One of his prominent projects remains Gospel According to Jazz, a series of albums he launched in 1998.
I always saw myself, being raised in the home of a pastor. I always saw myself up there preaching too. I think that's just a natural thing. Those of us who are fortunate to grow up with a man in the home, a father, even a father figure, in some way, I'm pretty sure that psychologists would back me up on this, that you do see yourself in that role because that's the one that you are most familiar with. But then I believe there is calling that has, again, back to our other conversation about why did I choose the saxophone or why did I choose, to marry my wife. I think that there are other things, other forces at work, that there's calling involved. And I do believe that I was called to reach out to people on behalf of and hopefully bring the very presence of the Master, the Savior, Jesus, the Christ. And I knew all along that for me, that there would be some sort of a preaching aspect of it, but that was really going to be mostly through my music, that the doors would be open through my music.
Whalum recently performed at different events in Lagos, entertaining music lovers as part of the International Day of Jazz celebration.